What's up, guys? It's Victor from Trading Stoically. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about my first trade on the funded account, which ended up being a winner. But really, what I really want to talk about today is fear in trading. So first, we'll go over the trade. Um, Let me put my market executions on so you guys can see entries. So today I traded MNQ. If we come into today, looking at the bias, we gapped up like crazy, right? Probably from earnings. I didn't really pay attention to what happened after market today. But from 5 o'clock, we gapped all the way up till 6 o'clock, right? So coming in, I was bullish bias. You can see the volume profile here is pretty, right now it's pretty even, but at the time it was really this top part of the zone that really had the most volume, right? So that's where my zone is right now. But right now it's pretty even. I was thinking we were bullish, and again, I only started trading at 8 o'clock, right, to gather 2 hours of data. Come into here, this is the first candle for 8 o'clock, right? A lot of times the 8 o'clock hour has a lot of extra volume, just like how the 7 o'clock does too. A lot of extra volume coming in. Well, you can tell from the 7 o'clock candle here, this reverse pin or reverse hammer here on extremely high volume was kind of signaling, hey, we're heading lower, right? So we did climb up a little bit higher, consolidated here, and then we started breaking low. So I drew my zone at 8:15, huge high volume to the downside, right? I really wanted to see this close more towards the end, but to me, that was enough to tell me, like, okay, we are heading lower. So my bias switched from long to short, right? We did have two green candles. This is really more of a doji, right? So indecision here happening. Then we have a good green candle, right? Trying to take back the losses that it just had from this candle here, but we have a top wick here, followed by a huge full body red candle on kind of equal volume, right? So that's what I love to see. I want to see that type of continuation here, right? I did end up getting in um at that full body green, so I was actually very patient. My entries were so much better today compared to previous days where I was just very patient. I wanted to add on VWAP. I was confident that we were heading lower based off of this candle, and we just continued to add. And this is kind of where the fear comes in, right? I've been reading Mark Douglas Trading in the Zone, and I'm only on the first chapter, but I've been watching a lot of his videos too. And he talks about fear and trading errors, right? And if you don't have fear, right, you won't be making trading errors. And I literally read that before trading today, and I made a trading error. What I did was I added right here, right? I accidentally added right here. That's where I was supposed to take profit, at least for three contracts, right? So you can see -3 is right here. So I completely goofed. I messed up there, right? And I set a stop. My account was locked, so I set a limit sell, three limit sell contracts at that level at 684.50, which was my profit target, right? I was trying to set a stop buy order, right? Because if we continue to follow through, I wanted to see us go lower to this level here, so 643, which we did not end up tapping anyway. So it was a good take profit area, right? So I messed up there and I didn't panic though. I was just like, oh my gosh, please start heading lower. Please start heading lower just a little bit, you know? Um, Again, one of the things on my mind was the money, right? You want a $200 day on the funded account. You want to make sure you have five $200 days to be eligible for a payout, blah, 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 blah. You know, and it's the wrong mentality to have. What you should be doing is just looking at the trade, right? And really thinking through your process. My process, whenever I come into a trading day, is first I draw up my prior day value area high, prior day point of control, and prior day value area low on MNQ and on MES as well. The next thing I do is I draw up my volume profile. I set up my volume profile, right, for the current session. If we gap up, I only do it from 6 o'clock. If we don't gap and we continue from after 4 o'clock, I draw it from 4 o'clock, right? And then I set up my green zones. Usually I'm doing this around 7:45, 7:50, 7:55-ish, depending on when I get to the computer. And I set up where my green zones are. So I start making a plan, right? Like, okay, we're bullish heading in today. What I want to see is us break here, come back down into the green zone and head higher. But here, we formed a zone, we headed lower, we came back very quickly, and then we headed lower, right? So that was my plan, right? So I set up a plan. What I completely did not really fully accept is the risk of losing, right? The inherent risk when you trade. When you trade, there's no 100% guarantee of what's going to happen. Instead, what could happen is that you could win, just like today, how I won, or you could lose, right? And, for myself, I haven't lost in a while. It's been the last time that I lost was the $1,500 day that I had that I stayed up until like 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning just to wait for a perfect trade because I was off work the next day, because I was that obsessed on proving to myself that my process works, that my trading works, right? When I'm glad that I did that because it was a $1,500 day, but in reality, it's like I shouldn't be doing that, right? I'm too fearful that what I'm doing isn't working instead of just trusting the process and saying, hey, like you've had so many winning days in this market, which has been extremely tough for a lot of people, and you're actually doing really well. Like, and you've seen other people, like Cami Capital is probably the number one guy who trades volume profile. You see how profitable he is, especially in this market too. He just had like a 10K week last week. You see Trader Dale, you see Nick Fortick, you see all of these guys trading volume profile and how well they're doing, that you're not going to trust in yourself to trade the same way. Now, I'm not as good as those guys. I haven't been as successful as those guys. I haven't been trading as long as those guys, I don't think. Um, but we're using the same thing. Now, I've tweaked mine, but we're still using the same formula, the same strategy. I'm also using volume price analysis as well, right? And it's like you're not trusting yourself that you can do it. It doesn't make any sense, right? And I still have this fear of losing to where if I lose, it's like I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. Oh my gosh, like I'll never be able to get a first payout here. I'll never be able to, pay the bills through trading or have trading be my full-time job. I'll just never be able to do it. It's like I'm conjuring up all of these stories in my head that don't make any sense, right? Like I think I want to say it was Epictetus, or it might be Seneca, it probably is Seneca, bringing it back to Stoicism, who said that we suffer more in imagination than in reality, right? And it's so true. I'm over here making up these stories. Like, really, the worst that can happen is that I lose my funded account and the $200 that I put from the combine and paying the activation fee on Top Step is gone, right? There's no return on investment. That's the worst that can happen. And guess what? It's already happened to me. I've already lost a funded account back in February. We talked about that yesterday in yesterday's video. So it's like, I don't know why I'm so fearful of trading. When I came into today's trade, my stop loss was up here. I think my stop loss at the time for one contract was $86. I'm like, am I really that afraid to lose $86? And then I continued to add to the trade once I started seeing that it worked out. So then we started lowering the stop loss. Obviously, as you add more contracts, the stop loss gets larger in terms of price. But it doesn't matter. We've won the trade. We've confirmed that we've won the trade. I could set it to break even. Don't lose. So that inherent fear of losing is what holds myself back and a lot of us back too. If we can get rid of that, then we're going to be more profitable traders. Sometimes it's not really a strategy that makes you profitable, it's your psychology that makes you profitable. So I want to lead into that reading. It's a longer passage, but it's from Trading in the Zone. I wanted to talk about that and read that to you guys. Maybe I'll skip over some parts, but I really want you guys to kind of listen to this and see where I'm coming from when I'm talking about the fear of trading or of losing, and the difference between a profitable trader and an inconsistent trader who's not profitable is really fear, right? Being able to have that fear, be put aside and be confident in what you're doing Be confident in the probability of your edge that it works out, and be confident that you have good psychology to manage risk appropriately. So, starting with the passage in chapter one, confidence and fear are contradictory states of mind that both stem from our beliefs and attitudes. To be confident, functioning in an environment where you can easily lose more than you intend to risk requires absolute trust in yourself. However, you won't be able to achieve that trust until you have trained your mind to override your natural inclination to think in ways that are counterproductive to being a consistently successful trader. Learning how to analyze the market's behavior is simply not the appropriate training. You have two choices. You can try to eliminate risk by learning about as many market variables as possible. I call this the black hole of analysis because it is a path of ultimate frustration. Or you can learn how to redefine your trading activities in such a way that you truly accept the risk and you're no longer afraid. When you've achieved a state of mind where you truly accept the risk, you won't have the potential to define and interpret market information in painful ways. When you eliminate the potential to define market information in painful ways, you also eliminate the tendency to rationalize, hesitate, jump the gun, hope that the market will give you money, or hope that the market will save you from your inability to cut your losses. As long as you are susceptible to the kinds of errors that are the result of rationalizing, justifying, hesitating, hoping, and jumping the gun, you will not be able to trust yourself. If you can't trust yourself to be objective and to always act in your own best interests, achieving consistent results will be next to impossible. Trying to do something that looks so simple may well be the most exasperating thing you will ever attempt to do. The irony is that when you have the appropriate attitude, when you have acquired a trader's mindset, and can remain confident in the face of constant uncertainty, trading will be as easy and simple as you probably thought it was when you first started out. So, what is the solution? You will need to learn how to adjust your attitudes and beliefs about trading in such a way that you can trade without the slightest bit of fear, but at the same time, keep a framework in place that does not allow you to become reckless. And that's what this book teaches you. And it's the complete truth. If you go back and analyze what I just said, what I just read, it's like if you really think about it, if you have that trader's mindset, if you can confidently face, if I could come in here and confidently face this uncertainty on whether we're going to bounce off VWAP and come back and hit my stop loss, or if we're going to head lower to my target at value area lows here, if I can confidently face that time in and time out and execute based on what I know my edge to be, based on what I know my strategy to be, I'm going to be a profitable trader. At this moment in time, right now, I always say this: being a consistently profitable trader is not a place that you have achieved. It is a state of mind, right? And right now, I am a consistently profitable trader, right? If you go back, you look at my stats. Well, I mean, you won't be able to see my stats because this is my first trade on the funded account, right? If you go back, even on the other combines, right, and then you go back to when I passed my account. If you go back, you look at my stats, I am a consistently profitable trader, and I have to tell myself that. I always have to tell myself that I am a consistently profitable trader. I do what consistently profitable traders should be doing, right? In terms of following my plan, having good risk management, being patient, right? And not accidentally clicking limit sell instead of stop buy. Um, but those are the things that make consistently profitable traders. You have to be able to do those things day in and day out. Every single time your setup comes up, you execute, you take it, whether you win or lose, right? It doesn't matter, right? Probability, if you have an edge, the probability is in your favor. So do it. Just do it, man. Just do it. So that's today's video. I know that was kind of like a long ramble, but it's basically for me to be able to look back on and be like, why are you so afraid? Right? Yeah, I want to pay the bills. I want to make sure I have enough money. Like this economy is tough. My job pays, but it doesn't pay as well as you would think for being in healthcare. So like you want to make more money. I don't want to work my job for a long period of time. Like I want to be able to quit my job next year or in 2 years or whenever that is. But at the same time, it's like, why are we so afraid? Why are we so afraid? Why are we so afraid of losing? What's the worst that can happen? To me, the worst that can happen is I lose my funded account and the $200 I put in goes to waste. That's already happened. So why am I afraid, right? So anyway, um, that's about it for today's video. I appreciate you guys for watching. Appreciate anyone who's here. Comment down below what is the worst fear that you have in trading. Let me know your thoughts on the video as well as the passage that I read too. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a good trading week. If you guys lost today, it's okay. We'll bounce back, right? If you guys won today, don't have too much of an ego, because the market will humble you extremely quickly. Accept the win, be happy for the win, but then move on to the next trade. So yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, keep trading stoically.